I want to show you guys how absolutely unhinged liberals and Democrats have become on their authoritarian push towards cracking down on free speech. And why they're doing that? They're doing it on behalf of the capitalist class to silence dissent. So what happens when you have years and years of propaganda telling liberals that free speech is bad? You cultivate an extremist movement. When you see the image, we show you guys Morning Joe, and I see you guys in comments. You guys be suffering during our Morning Joe segments. You guys be like, and I see a few comments like, it's unbelievable people watch this as real news. It's unbelievable the crazy shit they say, and people take it seriously. But what do you think is the fact when you have boomer Americans that is watching Morning Joe every fucking day and think they're getting real news? There's a reason why I say the United States is the most propagandized country in the world. And this is their report card on their crackdown on free speech and their messaging against free speech. Do you guys know AOC, the quote unquote pro-worker populist? Her biggest criticism of Facebook is that they don't censor enough. She do these hearings wrong where he's like, why you guys aren't censoring hate speech more? Why you guys not doing this? Like you AOC, a quote unquote socialist, we know you're not. You want to give power to the capitalists to silence workers. Is there anything more unhinged than that?
Whether they disagree with you or not. I mean, we all know that hate crime bullshit is a slippery scope because everybody hates you. Well, and I ain't gonna say everybody, but you are one of the most disliked politicians next to what, Hillary Clinton? Her numbers are low across the board. So, you know, a lot of this stuff might come out like hate, or people might wish death on you, but that's not up to you to silence them, especially as a politician, somebody in power. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
And this is the DSA left, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Cenk Uygur believes in this. Sam Cedar believes in this. There was a debate between I think there was like a bread to debate, and they were debating whether you should censor people on social media. Like, these are things they talk about, and there are a lot of people who consider themselves socialists who agree with the Democratic Party on censorship. And they are literally one of the dumbest people in political discourse, because if you are a socialist and communist, why would you give the powers to the capitalist class to censor us? Our police state, which is they literally work for the capitalist class. The police state, they wage war against socialists. They wage war against worker movements, brown disenfranchised people. But you, as a socialist, you DSA, want to give our capitalist authoritarian government the power to censor people?
You know what that's
see why oppositional. But go ahead, Ron. You want to try to go ahead.
You already know who's going to lead to. They're going to say, "Oh, we want to stop these white people, these racist people, and all this shit." And then they're going to look at black people like, "Hey."
They know what they do. I think they know what they're doing, man. Because they say, "Oh, we want to do this because we want to crack down on white supremacists." And meanwhile, the government power that they always get by fear mongering of white supremacy and terrorism is used against poor people in the black community. For example, remember they were saying we gotta give more money to the Capitol Police. The squad helped give them more money to the Capitol Police. They said we gotta do this in order to stop the next January 6th. We gotta use it to stop Trump supporters. You guys want to know what they did immediately after getting that new money? They attacked indigenous protesters that were protesting Line 3, a corporate oil pipeline going through indigenous lands. And they got that approved because our government used state violence against people who protested against that pipeline. And guess what? Line 3, the oil pipeline, it burst exactly how indigenous people said it would. Exactly what indigenous people said it did. It actually burst. So, once again, this is just a YouTube, so we don't get in trouble. This is a rhetorical question. I asked this guy, because we got Rome here. Is it morally wrong to bomb a pipeline you know it's going to poison your community?
No.
Now, I'm just asking the question because we're on YouTube, right? If you know a pipeline is going to poison you and your children, increase your cancer rates, give your children scars, isn't it your moral duty to do anything you can to protect your family? With that said, is it morally wrong to bomb a pipeline that you know is going to poison your family? Now, we all know what the establishment will say about this, and they're always scaring a ton of fucking white people watching this right now. Nick, what are you implying? I am implying that we should protect our family and our community when our government failed to do so. That's all I'm saying. Roman,
that's only fair, especially if you want to bring people into the world. If you're going to bring people into this world, you got sons, daughters, even nieces and nephews that you have to protect. You call these people your loved ones, your families. and you know that the government is after you. You know that they would do whatever it takes to lock you up, to take over your neighborhood, to throw a freeway or a highway through that motherfucker if they could. If you have the power to stop it and you don't use it, you you are just as bad as the government that's trying to do it. Your people can't depend on you. You can't call yourself a leader. You can't call yourself a fighter. If you have the power and the time to do something about it, do something about it before you can't do anything.
Now, I understand why people are scared, because Americans are so brainwashed. They believe the government had the right to kill you for doing that. So imagine if you were someone who caught doing that to protect your family. You're a domestic terrorist. You go to prison for life, or they just kill you. And people think that's okay. So the guy who bombs a pipeline because they're protecting their family, that's bad. But the government who kills that person in prison for life, that's okay. You guys see how warped our morals are?
Or poison their family for generations on. Poison their families, for generations on.
Once again, YouTube, I'm not saying anything. I'm not advocating anything. For the sake of YouTube, I'm just flowing this theoretical question. Because some people will say, like the Bible say, I'm not religious, but the Bible says that, man, your job is to protect you and your family. So are you really doing your job if you allow a pipeline to poison your family? Like, do you do them, and is that unjust? Right? Now, we all know what the law say, but we know the law is not the basis of morality. If so, slavery is right. So one thing, these are just philosophical questions that most Americans never even think about, right? But anyway, let's move on for a second time. I'm gonna go to the poll I prefaced a lot because liberals are completely propagandized. Look at this. Stunning numbers among Dems in RCOR new poll on free speech and censorship. 47% of Democrats say free speech should be legal only under certain circumstances.
What?
So remember how Morning Joe was just like, Donald Trump wants to get rid of the Constitution. Meanwhile, across the pond, you had Democrats that are quite literally against the First Amendment. Look at this. 34% of Democrats say Americans have too much freedom, Rome. They think we should have more cop cities, more cracking down on dissidents. 75% of Democrats say government has the responsibility to censor hateful social media posts. 75% of Democrats want the capitalist class to have the ability to set the standard of morality.
You know how petty these Democrats are, because that's what all this is over. Social media posts, being fucking bullied online. Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive, you know what I'm saying? Or is that a word? Whatever the fuck. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I have empathy for people who get bullied and talked about and dragged online and doxxed and whatnot. But to sit here and be pissed off at people because they have a different ideology or have a different political party than you, and to want to shut them up forever, to get the government on them, that is some bullshit. That is some petty bullshit. You're gonna get the government in between your petty arguments of who's your favorite politician or who's your least favorite.
Yep.
Grow the fuck up, y'all. Like, these Democrats don't see the real world that we are facing, that we are living in. They think that this is the top priority, shutting these motherfuckers up. And then what? You shut them up, and then what happens? They're gonna group up together and start talking shit. They're gonna group up together and start starting some shit. Because when you strip people of rights and you garnish, you take people rights away, they're gonna find a way to get the motherfuckers back. I guarantee it every time. Have we not?
Look at this part here. Only 31% strongly agree with the statement. I disapprove of what you say, but will defend to the death your right to say it. And that was supposed to be a bedrock principle of the United States. Now, my politics, people are like, oh, Nick, your whole politics is just anti-American. I'm like, you goddamn right it is. Because as a Marxist, what I do is I point out the contradictions of this country. So I had Scott Ritter on, and Scott Ritter has a ton of criticisms of the U.S. empire, and he said he liked the ideals of the United States. but he holds the United States accountable because they're not living up to the ideals. Now, wouldn't you agree that the ideals of America is good? Like the idea of freedom, prosperity, all that's a good idea, right? The argument that we make, especially Black people and Marxists, is that the United States has never, ever been the country they claim it's been. Because doesn't democracy, freedom, upward mobility, the American dream, doesn't that sound good, Rome? I think we all can agree to that.
Yeah.
Nigga, do anyone object to that? No. The argument is that America has quite literally never been the country you guys claim it's been. Oh, I miss the good old days of America. You mean when the Black Code was around?
Right.
You mean when we were slaughtering indigenous people?
Cold
when they used to
War.
have harsh anti-worker protection laws? At what point has America ever been a great country?
Man, I just hope these people realize what the fuck they're doing before it's too late. But other than that, if they don't, then sure, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they're getting a lot of people hurt. You know, Democrats, Republicans, no matter what party it is, from the base to the people in office, all these people are doing nothing but getting people hurt. And I hope the supporters can wake up before they get themselves hurt.